Hey everybody, thanks for checking out part 2 of the Guntersville Toyota series video. Now, if you follow me on any other social media, whether it be Instagram or Facebook or whatever, you know coming into this that I didn't catch them at all. And you probably saw the thumbnail or saw the video and thought, well, what the heck is gonna be in this video? Because I know darn well I didn't catch them. My thought with this, and the value that I think this will have is probably a lot greater than a lot of just fish catch videos. Anybody who's ever fished a tournament at the Opens or Toyota Series level, you realize how much of a learning curve there is in so many different aspects of fishing. A whole lot of figuring out what you don't know and what you didn't know. And that's how this Guntersville tournament was for me. Guntersville is not somewhere that I have a lot of experience at, but I felt pretty confident that I could go down there and catch some. I love fishing that time of year. I love the early pre-spawn. This tournament was mid to end of February. Don't have as much grass experience, but I like doing it. Love throwing a trap, love throwing a chatterbait. But what you leave those kind of bug on the windshield tournaments with, a lot of times will do you a lot of good. What I learned and what I kind of just mentally gained from that, maybe some of that can be passed on, and maybe it can't. Maybe it's something that you just have to gather from your own experience fishing those kinds of tournaments. It's interesting to kind of gauge your mental approach, your mental aspect, your mental, I don't know, it's just interesting to gauge yourself during and after the event and just to try and be aware of that. But we obviously didn't win, but we did learn a lot for what that's good for. Main thing I took away from day one was people caught them exactly like I thought they were gonna catch them. 15 pounds had you down around 80th place. There were a lot of just solid, good bags. A lot of people caught them doing what they always do down there. Red traps, red chatterbaits, in the grass. I mean, it's not a lot of secretive stuff. Alabama rigs around bridges. And that kind of stuff is what I spent all practice doing, and I never caught them good. There was one morning of practice where I fished through 2 small areas that had Hydral in them and caught them pretty good on a trap that one morning. I run straight to it. It was the only place that I really felt confident I could catch some in. Already 4 or 5 boats around. I got a little shallower in the grass. There was one little bitty drain and caught a 6'11" on my maybe 10th cast. It was less than 8 minutes into the morning, and I catch this one right off the bat and start feeling really, that's what you want. That's what you want to have happen first thing in the morning is catch a 6.5 pounder to get your day started. About 5 minutes after that, I hooked a catfish in the back that ran right at me that absolutely had me thinking this was going to be the day. And after that, I never caught another bass that entire day. And I have no clue why. Reading some of the patterns, granted, you kind of have to take that with a grain of salt, especially it being in the middle of an event when you're reading this, how other guys caught them stuff. But one thing you always hear about on lakes like Guntersville that have got so much eelgrass in them is guys talking about finding them in the hydrilla that's left. Every single fish that I caught on a trap during the week, which were not a ton, but I was always snagging some hydrilla when I was getting the bites. And I know there were a couple people who had talked about having some success that first day, catching them in some deeper hydrilla, like closer to 10 feet rather than 3 to 6, which is what I spent a lot of time in. That leads me to ask myself, what do I need to do to be able to identify hydrilla apart from eelgrass faster and be more efficient in doing that? Because for me, I don't know any way to do it other than fishing through an area and seeing what you're catching on your trap. Are you just snagging eelgrass? Or are you having some hydrilla? I don't know how to identify it on a graph. If I was idling over grass in 10 feet, I don't know well enough to look at it and say, well, that's eelgrass or that's hydrilla or that's milfoil. I can't tell the difference. Maybe that's what it is, especially when you get into deeper grass. Maybe it's just pulling up through an area and having a 6XD on and just grinding it into the grass and seeing what type it is and go until you hit some hydrilla. I don't know. One big thing that's just grass fishing specific, and not necessarily just the time of the year, but that's grass specific for me that I took away from this is I've got to figure out how to locate hydrilla apart from the other types of grasses when it's one of those scenarios where you want to seek it out, like this week seemed to be for me. Now that being said, I know people did really well just fishing eelgrass, and you hear people talk about fighting when the wind blows eelgrass into an area and they can't fish it, so they've got to go fish somewhere else, or it makes it a lot harder to fish. The fish aren't going to just hide, and the fish aren't just gonna tuck tail and run every time there's not hydrilla and there's just eelgrass. I mean, they're gonna adapt and they're gonna live in that too. But for me, it was like I was stuck in another dimension, like I was on a whole other lake, because I know for a fact that out of, I mean, almost 100 people that caught limits the first day, and it was a big field, it was 328 boats, but that doesn't matter. It's a huge lake. A third of the field caught a limit, and I know for a fact that I was doing what a lot of those guys were doing. I've never, I know people say it's the worst practice or the worst tournament ever, but I've never felt like I was so clueless while knowing that I was doing the same thing a lot of guys were that were catching them. And I don't say that as an excuse or like, oh, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened at all. Part of that feeling so confused, just like I know I'm doing the right thing, I don't know why it's not working. I just have to chalk that up to you just don't catch them all the time. You just don't. Fishing's hard, and you just missed it. And whatever little change it was, whatever difference I needed to make and didn't, yes, you want to try to learn from that and figure it out, but by the end of that week, my mentality was a lot closer to you just got to forget it and just roll on to the next one, which is Dale Hollow. So part of that is just going to be short-term memory for me, which I'm getting very good at, it seems like. Bug up, Buttercup. Another thing that I've gotten better about doing this, but I didn't fall back to this at Guntersville, is just fishing your strengths. Like, grass fishing is not my strength. It's not something I've done a ton. And I mean, like, just committing to, I'm going to, throwing the trap and throwing chatterbait. Oh, it's not hard. It's not a hard thing to do. But one of my two favorite things in the world to do is to skip boat docks. And it was early. I spent a little bit of time trying to catch some fish on boat docks. Probably didn't spend enough time doing it, considering it's something I consider to be a strength of mine. And didn't know a lot of people, didn't hear about a lot of fish getting caught on boat docks, but that first day, one of the top 5 guys had caught them on a boat dock. And that's something that second day through the day, not even halfway, maybe a third of the way into the day, I'm like, let's go skip some boat docks. I'm out on a grass flat, trying just to hit some high percentage places around some channels, where the channel swings up against flat. And I thought, Lord mercy, I'm just gonna go the other direction and see if I can catch some. And never did. Co-angler, thank goodness, caught one because he needed some points because he hadn't caught some the first day. So if we're only going to catch one, it might as well be him that catches it. It's going to do him a lot more than it does me. But at one point when I was like, all right, let's go fish some boat docks because it's what I love to do and it's something I haven't done enough yet. But I start thinking, I'm like, man, it's like if I go fish 30 boat docks and catch a couple keepers, that's great. But that's not where I'm going to have the chance to go and just run into a wad of fish and catch 15 to 20 pounds. I didn't feel like. And it probably wasn't. You've got to that second day, just for the sake of salvaging some points, you can go catch 20 pounds. You're still not going to fish the third day or even get a check. But just for the sake of points, I was like, man, we got to catch at least 15 or 20 pounds. And the only way I know to try and do that is to catch them on a trap or a chatterbait in the grass somewhere. Here's some other bad luck from that first day that did not affect the fishing, but as Matt, my co-angler, is waiting in the bag line, I start getting sick at the boat dock, and I had to hand him my bag with my fish in it so that I could throw up on the riprap walking up the dock. I don't know what hit me, if I was just dehydrated or had a bug or what it was, but that was obnoxious. And then I drive back down towards waterfront where I'd put in at, and get out the ramp, and my boat's dead because I left the fog lights on the new truck, hit it with my knee. Didn't even notice. So luckily I had a jumper box in the boat, and that saved me. But between getting the truck stuck in the Airbnb, getting sick, having that floodlight kill my battery, it was just an annoying couple days, which is fine, it happens. So at this point, I mean, we finished in 275th place.
One bass.
Which means you don't even get points for that. They only give points to the top 260, so you can catch a keeper and still not get a point. So what that means is I am officially in the wild card division, which the Toyota Series does. You can fish 4 from any division, keep your best 3. Have somewhat of a what's the word I'm looking for here? A respectable finish at Dale Hollow and at Chickamauga. Points-wise, finish-wise, and it may be worth looking for a northern tournament to fish, St. Lawrence, Champlain, whichever. But anyways, so that'll be interesting to see how the next two go. I am thrilled about Del Hall. I can't wait to get over there. I've only been on the lake once. I went up for a week last year and fished it. It's a cool lake. It's a lot of fun. Didn't catch them great last year, but I feel really good about being able to figure them out. Last week of March, first a little bit of April, so it should be really, really fun if we don't have any crazy weather stuff happen. So really, I don't even feel like I really accomplished much in giving you information. As far as what I learned, sorry. Like water off a duck's back, we're gonna let it roll off of us, and we'll keep on trucking, because what are you gonna do, quit fishing? No. Maybe these kinds of videos will help you, because it helps me. At least the information helps me. I don't know if it's gonna transfer through the airways very well, but yeah, that's all I got. I am going to mention this. One thing I did during this winter is I've backlogged a lot of videos for a new series. I know everybody always talks about, oh, a new series, whatever. Here's the first one. Maybe it's there, or it's there, I don't know. It might be in both places. When I first started trying to learn how to edit videos, which I clearly have still got a long ways to go, the best tutorials online were the ones that would tell you how to do what you were Googling to do in about 30 seconds, and as short as possible. So this new Bass and Basics series is to get the basic fishing questions answered that people who are new to fishing are gonna have as quickly as you can. I've got about a dozen of them ready to kind of roll out once a week or so that we've been making during the winter. It's just trying to get those basic fishing questions answered as quickly as possible. So hopefully that will be of use to some people, and if so, you can check it out there somewhere. If you like this format, this was kind of unplanned. Clearly you don't plan on sucking eggs, but if this is something that you like, even the idea, maybe it wasn't done very well, but the idea is there, then let me know. Drop a subscription, drop a like, let me know, make a comment. I would love to hear it. And yeah, we'll see if we can't bring some knowledge and some info other than just, here's what we caught them on, and here's where we caught them. So appreciate you. God bless you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.